We are still in the aftermath of the Yuzu shutdown initiated by Nintendo. Shockwaves are still being sent through the emulator and ROM community. I mean, it really is crazy. As quick as I learned about Yuzu and how big of a Nintendo Switch emulator it is, that quickly it shut down, and with it, opportunities for many to play Nintendo Switch games on PC completely crumbled. It left people, I think, just frustrated is probably the best word to describe it. There were plenty of people who legally buy Nintendo games that wanted to play it on their PC, and now they had no way of doing this. So naturally, the question is, what is going to replace Yuzu? I mean, after all, it is just an emulator. It can be replaced online, as with, a Nintendo 64 emulator, a GameCube emulator. Even though there is one top dog, there are still many underneath it. So of course, many have been wondering what's going to take Yuzu's place. Well, there is a new, or I believe newer, Nintendo Switch emulator called Suyu, S-U-Y-U. They have come out guns blazing with basically a whole strategy they've kind of outlined for how they're going to make it so that Nintendo cannot press charges against them. Which, funny enough, their name is literally Suyu, which in English sounds like sue you. I really hope they don't get sued. So what is it they're doing to avoid this takedown from Nintendo? To make it so that, hey, this is not possible at all? Well, they said the main thing they're doing is they're staying away from any type of monetization, right? So Yuzu had the Patreon. That was a big thing that Nintendo took issue with. They were basically getting paid by people on their Patreon to provide people with this Nintendo Switch emulator. Now, additionally, Suyu is not going to have any type of specific instructions on the whole emulation process. They're not going to provide any sort of guidance on how to go about really doing any of this. This was another thing that Nintendo took issue with Yuzu, because with Yuzu, they had specific instructions on not only how you can use their emulator and how you can use ROMs with their emulator, but I believe they talked about like how you can get the necessary encryption keys to make it so that the games work with their emulator. So Suyu will avoid this. Basically, Suyu is directly addressing Nintendo's grievances with Yuzu, and they're basically saying, hey, we're going to do the exact opposite of what Yuzu did, while also still providing a Nintendo Switch emulator. Now, the Suyu team claims to have actually already consulted with like a team of lawyers and legal professionals to basically talk about their very unique situation and see everything they have to do, cross all their T's, dot their I's, to make sure that this whole plan is bulletproof. They say this is still a process, but they really feel like they have a good handle on it right now. Now, like I said, Suyu is newer. From what it looks like, they are actually going to be rolling out within the next couple of months. It's going to be a sort of like gradual rollout, so they said that users can't expect to immediately have access to this emulator. So I don't know if they're going to have people do alpha testing, beta testing, anything like that. But right now, it looks like it is not fully released, in its final product. So I gotta say, overall, I think Suyu has a good plan here. They're obviously just head-on, fully addressing the specific grievances that Nintendo had with Yuzu. And like I said, just doing the opposite of it. That being said, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they should be, 100% confident that just because they're doing these things, that Nintendo definitely can't take them down. I get that they consulted some lawyers, but Nintendo is very protective of, their IPs and really all of their products. And who knows what kind of lawyers Nintendo has. I'm sure they've got a very big, very good legal team. So while I can't 100% say the exact future and fate of this new Suyu Nintendo Switch emulator, I will say it's very cool, and I think the chances of this lasting long term are already just a lot higher than probably what the chances of Yuzu had for, going long term, since it does seem like Suyu is being very careful with how they're doing these things. We will wait to see when it actually does roll out. Hopefully, all of these safeguards and all of these procedures, hopefully that can be enough to keep them off of Nintendo's legal radar.